In this episode, we've got a glimpse into the future of automotive technology. This is the 2025 Mazda CX-70 plug-in hybrid. It's beautifully styled, but it has loads of technology. What's it like? Buckle up, my friends. Let's go for a drive. I'm your host, Brian Makse, racer, lover of driving fast, fun things, and on this channel, you get reviews for drivers from drivers. Now, we know that Mazda builds cars for drivers, and this CX-70 is all new in every way. It is a stunner, and this is the plug-in hybrid, which represents a different consideration when it comes to choosing a mid-size SUV. And before we get into what this is like to drive, let's have a look at it in a little more depth. This being all new from Mazda, it's definitely worth looking at the mechanical details of the CX-70 plug-in hybrid. The power unit is based around a 2.5-liter four-cylinder turbo combined with an electric motor, and in total they make 323 horsepower at 6,000 RPM on premium fuel, 319 horsepower on regular, and 369 pounds of torque at 2,000 RPM on any fuel. There's a 17.8 kilowatt-hour battery on board with a promised range of 26 miles or about 42 kilometers. Max charge rate is 7.2 kilowatts. Transmission's an 8-speed automatic. This is all-wheel drive. Steering is electrically assisted, and it is variable assist. Suspension's double wishbones at the front, multi-link at the rear. Conventional dampers, not the adaptive type. GVC or G-vectoring control is standard, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Wheels and tires on this one are 21s. Towing capacity is about 3,500 pounds on the plug-in hybrid, and curb weight of this one is 5,167 pounds. Did you know that 80% of you are not subscribed? Yes, it's true. 80% of you are not subscribed. I checked the data. So if you like the content on this channel, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, make sure you like this. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Now back to your regularly scheduled episode. It didn't take me long behind the wheel before I felt at home in this CX-70, and I gotta think it's a little bit of that Jinba Itai philosophy that Mazda subscribed to, the whole idea of horse and rider as one. Right on brand for Mazda, the seating position is spot on in every way. Yes, this is an SUV, so we're seated high off the road, and that's fine. That's what SUVs are all about. But once you're here, you've got a supportive seat, a great steering wheel, great shape, great size, encourages you to have your hands at 9 and 3, lots of adjustment in the seat and the steering column to get a perfect seating position so that you've got a great relationship to the steering wheel and to the pedals. What I've found in the CX-70 as well as the CX-90 is the seats are on the firm side, much firmer than I would have expected, more like something from Germany than anything else. And what that does for you, provides you more long distance comfort and support. So if you are looking at a CX-70, you're probably going to get in and say, oh, these seats are too hard, but rest assured, over longer distances, this is exactly the kind of seat you want. Speaking of which, there's a modest amount of bolstering here, and these are heated and cooled as well in this trim level. Ergonomics are traditional Mazda, so it's very simple, straightforward. I think the only thing that's a little odd is the infotainment controller. This infotainment system is Mazda's latest. I use it on Apple CarPlay. You can use it wired or wirelessly if you so choose. The instrument cluster is all digital, and it changes configuration depending on your drive mode. One of the things I really dig about this interior is the interior design, let alone the materials. This isn't the fancy 3.3-liter inline-six powered CX-70. This is the plug-in hybrid, so it's got a different finish on the dash, but the design is the same. It's very minimalist, it's very clean, and what I love about this design is that it's just aesthetically appealing, and they've done a great job choosing materials to coordinate with the design. But overall, this interior is perfectly Mazda, which means it's driver-centric and it's very easy to live with on a day-to-day basis. Now, in terms of spaciousness, It's a CX-70. It is Mazda's biggest platform. Yeah, this is like a CX-90 minus the third row, but there's a lot of room here in the front row for you and your passenger. Plenty of storage as well. A couple of cup holders here, a switchable wireless charger here, and in that second row, there's tons of room. I can sit comfortably behind myself, and then under the hatch, well, lots of room to carry your gear. The seats, of course, will fold flat, and underneath the floor, you can store your charger like this one does. In terms of visibility, I have zero complaints. It is an SUV, tall glass all around, lots of cameras on board to help you with parking. And speaking of parking, one of the things that Mazda did with this particular platform is take advantage of this new architecture. It is essentially rear drive architecture, so it's not front wheel drive based. There's not a lot of stuff going on at the front axle save for a drive unit, so it's not a big integrated front wheel drive drivetrain up there. So the front wheels articulate a little bit more, making parking and turning so much easier. You can fit this in so many places, and in this case, four-wheel steer not required. When the gasoline motor and the electric motor get together, this thing is relatively quick. Still, it's over 5,000 pounds, but it'll do 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds flat. So it is fairly quick. And in the real world, definitely quick. The fact that it's got an abundance of torque definitely helps things. So getting up to speed anywhere you like, no trouble at all. And off the line, it's pretty responsive as well. The transmission shifts smoothly, quietly, very imperceptible, just does what it's supposed to do in the background with no bad habits. This is the beauty of the plug-in hybrid. We're just driving along in EV while we're stuck in this little bit of rural traffic. No need for the gasoline motor to fire up. Driving this in low grip conditions has still eluded me. I don't even think I've driven in any rain, so I'll have to try this in the winter to see how the all-wheel drive system performs, and I think it could be fun because, as we know, Mazda engineers cars for drivers. Now, as for the rest of the drivetrain, well, here's the thing. It is a four-cylinder. It's not that silky smooth 3.3 liter inline six that's in the other CX-70s. So you do have a little bit of four-cylinder noise from time to time, especially when you're asking for lots of acceleration. But otherwise, it works exactly the way it should. Builds power and torque just like you'd expect a sporting-oriented SUV of this size. Fun fact, did you know the CX-70 is named after a mountain range in Japan? No, just kidding. But I do think with a good set of tires and this all-wheel drive system, it can climb up any mountain in Japan. For me, one of the highlights of the CX-70 is the way it drives and the way it responds to me as the driver. Dynamically, in this category, this is probably the best handling SUV, hands down, but even in those finer details. Love the steering, the brakes are excellent as well, and yes, the ride is on the firmer side, which I was surprised to find, but that does support you in the corners. Steering is well weighted and it's strong on center, does exactly what you want it to do. In a big SUV, you're not getting a lot of feel or feedback through the steering wheel, but the brake pedal, on the other hand, that is well tuned. And given that this is a hybrid, there's a bit of brake blending going on with regenerative braking as well as actual brake application, and they've done a great job of blending those two so that this is still very satisfying to drive for drivers like us. That brake pedal is strong, positive, great control and modulation, and a decent amount of feel as well. And that goes back to the fact that Mazda builds cars for drivers. Very satisfying to drive in that regard. Now, when throwing it into the turns, this actually corners relatively flat for an SUV in this category, where you'd expect an SUV to, kind of roll over and exhibit a whole lot of body roll. There's not a lot going on here, which is pleasantly surprising. And this is definitely satisfying in the corners. Ride quality is pretty good. Again, it is on the firmer side in terms of the way the suspension is finished. So a little firmer spring rates, a little firmer damping rates. And what that does for drivers like us, it does a great job in the corners Body and wheel control is excellent, and every once in a while over some of the bigger road imperfections in this part of the world, and the roads are horrific here, there's a little bit more movement that makes it, to me, as the human being on board, but overall, that's a compromise I'm willing to accept for how well this handles. And again, I think this is probably the best handling SUV in the category. It's very, very responsive, and for drivers like this, for people who enjoy driving, this is very satisfying to drive because it is so responsive and you can count on it to do what you want it to do. Personally, I think this would make a great mate to an MX-5 in your garage. You can use this to tow it to the track, throw some things on board like an extra set of wheels and all the stuff you need to do track days, and that would be a fantastic garage. You've got a family hauler like this that's enjoyable to drive, and then something entirely different but complementary and still a Mazda like an MX-5 in your garage. How do you spec yours? Well, with Mazda, that's fairly straightforward. What you are looking at is a CX-70 PHEV Premium Plus in the US or GT in Canada. This is melting copper metallic paint, and inside is black Napa leather. Base price in the US is $57,450 plus $450 for the paint, for a total as tested of $57,900. In Canada, it's $63,350 base plus $300 for the stunning paint, for a total as tested of $63,650 Canadian. Now, in terms of specing yours, like I said, with Mazda, it's fairly easy, so just pick the colors that you like and be happy. But I do recommend this. Styling combined with this melting copper paint is absolutely stunning, and everyone that's seen it in person has been astonished at how attractive this SUV is. My verdict, well, let's start with fuel consumption, and without trying, I'm getting decent mileage, and mostly city driving. I'm doing about 24 miles per gallon, or about 9.8 liters per 100 kilometers for my Canadian friends, and I've charged this not as much as I would have liked. I just have been too busy to keep on top of the charge, but without trying, 24 miles per gallon, that's not too bad for someone like me who loves to use the throttle. As for battery range, I didn't track it, but my guess is the way I drive, I'm getting about 30% less than the promised range, but on this channel we know I do enjoy using the throttle, so I'm kind of not surprised. If I drove with some efficiency in mind, I could probably get to the promised range, but I don't drive like that, and on top of that, I enjoy driving this in a spirited fashion. In context, if I think about it, 24 miles per gallon in mostly city driving is pretty impressive. I have to begin to wonder whether Mazda is using some kind of special magic, but realistically, it's just the fact that this is a plug-in hybrid. As for this CX-70, it's a stunner, probably the most attractive SUV in the category. It drives exceptionally well, probably the best handling and most satisfying to drive SUV in the category, but this is the plug-in hybrid. And as much as I like this, and maybe I could use it, I really prefer the mild hybrid 3.3-liter inline-six turbo, and definitely the high output version. That to me is a little bit more satisfying. The engine is a little bit more silky smooth than this, but if you do live in a big city like I do and drive short distances, then you can definitely benefit from the plug-in hybrid side of this SUV. But for me, I drive longer distances. I would definitely enjoy the CX-70 a little bit more with that 3.3-liter inline-six turbo. For me, that makes a lot more sense, but for a lot of people, this can make sense too. And if I didn't live this crazy lifestyle where I'm driving everywhere all the time, then perhaps this plug-in hybrid would make a little bit more sense to me. But overall, CX-70 is a stunner inside and out, very satisfying to drive, and if you're looking for a midsize SUV, you definitely need to look at a CX-70, whether it's the plug-in hybrid or the inline-six. When I see a CX-70 on the road, I like to think that the owner appreciates Japanese culture and good design, but I think what it really means is that the owner appreciates a stylish SUV that is satisfying to drive. Thanks for hanging out with me today and having a look at this 2025 Mazda CX-70 PHEV. Hope you liked this episode, and if you did, you're not new, you know what to do. Smash the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, like this, and as always, sharing is caring, so please share this with your friends, especially on Reddit, because on Reddit, they really need to see reviews for drivers from drivers. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch, and Mazda still builds manuals. Thanks, Mazda. Anyway, thanks again for watching. We'll see you again next time. And remember, cars don't understeer by themselves, not even Mazda CX-70s. And since you've hung around this long, well, please check out our episode on the CX-70 with the 3.3-liter inline-six turbo high output version. I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching. See you again next time.